like, are you like an influencer? And I was like, sure, yeah, I am an influencer, yeah.
Why didn't this happen 5 years ago?
That's a good question. Kushal, you need to get in front of the camera and start talking, right? I'm like, I don't know if I can do that.
Why was it a sign for content creation in particular?
But I think when I got laid off, that's really when it sparked for me. I didn't want to be known as like another brown influencer, just catered towards brown people.
I want to get my foot in the door. I want to get hired.
Yeah,
So
anyone can have 1 million followers, 2 million followers, and they can probably have 0 brand deals.
a couple weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down with Kushal Parbadia. Now, I know him as a dancer, as a DJ, but last year when he was laid off from his job, he began the journey of becoming a social media influencer. Now, in that time, he's had viral hits as high as 500,000 views. He started trends on Instagram and TikTok, and he's had brand partnerships with local businesses, but also bigger brand names like Hinge and Taco Bell. In this episode, we talked a lot about what inspired him to start posting in the first place, where he sees himself in the social media space as a whole, and then we focused a lot about money, how he makes money, how it's affected his approach to content creation, and then he was very transparent to me about how much money he actually makes. If you're interested in starting the content creation journey, or you're already in this space and you don't know how to monetize, this is the perfect conversation for you. And lastly, all of these episodes going forward will be available in audio format wherever you listen to podcasts. Starting with this one will have an extended cut available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. I hope you enjoy.
Smash. Okay.
Cool. I'll just fix everything in post.
All right. Sounds good. That's your expertise.
Expertise is a strong word. I'll take it. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
I
You'll get
texted
there.
you earlier that I feel like I'm doing more of this stuff, but I feel like my skill level has not gone up at all.
I mean, I feel like it's a work in progress, definitely.
Do you feel more comfortable about recording? You were talking to me about lighting earlier this week. Was that something that you're like a proud skill that you've added?
No. Like if I'm recording a Get Ready With Me in Burris Hall, like I know where the good lighting is for that.
Okay.
But like in my car, it's just so hard to find. Like if I'm in my room in a controlled space at night, for example,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with the light.
It's a lot, because how do you light the background?
Yeah.
Light
I've
yourself?
definitely put my room all the way dark, no lights.
Yeah.
And then I have this like galaxy light that has like neon lights on it. So I put it behind me on the floor
Get
to
some
shine
depth.
up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then I have like my selfie light that just I clip onto my monitor
There you go.
to face me like a little bit downwards,
You use that.
and that's about it. But I don't record anything in my room like that,
When
except for going live.
When I first started streaming, the lighting situation in my room, this was at Hunter's in the apartment, so I would turn off all the lights in the room. I had a desk lamp that I would like point at me with everything else off, but it was still too bright. So I had a mic screen, like one of those like black things that you see in front of mics.
Yeah.
But I didn't like using it, so I clamped that to my lamp and put that over to diffuse the light. And that was how I adjusted lighting. And I did that until I moved to Atlanta. And then I finally bought I bought a real light like last year. So it took me like 2.5 years of streaming before I bought a real light.
Like not one of those Amazon purchases, like the cheap ones, like actual.
Actually, I bought like a $20 ring light
Okay.
that was so bad that every time it was USB, but every box I plugged it into, it would like burn it out.
Yeah, mine gets really hot.
It was bad.
I don't use that.
So I retired that after I think last season. I think.
Okay, yeah, get rid of those to be honest.
What's up, Kushal?
Nothing much, we're here. We're ready to podcast.
Home. We're back home.
Back home. This is my second home.
It kind of feels like that. We were roommates for a while. That was fun.
Yeah. What? 2, 3?
Ages ago.
Yeah.
I was with, who was Nace and Brad and Rohan and Siddhi yesterday, and all they kept talking about was how old they felt. And I was like, we're doing that thing that people always do is like, oh, everything is so different now.
And I was like, be quiet, guys.
Like,
you just have to roll with
guys.
it. Be like, oh, like I love the new additions. And that's it.
Yeah.
Don't talk about,
this
I
is so
remember
great.
when this was here.
This was better this way.
Nope.
Just accept it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have been a lot of different things. So like to me, right? So you're like as a creative, you're a dancer. You're my captain always, but you're also a DJ. But now you're also a third thing in that you've started this journey to become a content creator.
Yes.
So like if people ask you, Kushal, what do you do creatively? Do you lean in any one way?
It depends who's asking me. If it's like an uncle or auntie, I just tell them I work. Even though I don't have a full-time job, I just tell them I am like in this industry and like X, Y, and Z. But if it's
What is
someone,
the X, Y, and Z? Like, how do you explain to people who are not familiar?
cause like whenever I say I'm in supply chain, they're like, okay, what is that? I'm like, guys, just say you know
Okay,
it.
so you say
and,
like you're professional.
my professional,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Whereas like if someone like here were to ask me like what I do, besides work, then I would be like, oh, like I make mixes, casually for fun or for like teams or for
Okay.
competitions, and I create content on my TikTok and Instagram page.
So probably still DJ first.
Yeah, I would say, even though I don't even do that as much anymore, I just like to put both on there. Because I remember when I used to visit a lot of dance competitions last year, people knew me through both.
Okay, yeah.
But either knew me as like DJ Kushbag or like Kushbag from TikTok.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I guess those are two different things, to be honest.
They
like,
are. There's not a lot. Well, I guess there's a little bit more overlap when you do your dance videos, but
Yeah.
making mixes and being a DJ is totally different.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Being a content creator.
yeah.
Do you prefer the term content creator or social media influencer in terms of what you do?
Content creator, just because like I don't think I'm influencing anyone to do
Okay.
anything, but I actually do. Like in a way,
People-
people have told me that like I was influenced to buy the Taco Bell Chalupa Cravings box because
You
your
know,
ad.
actually,
I was like, okay.
I do want to go to Taco Bell every time I see your TikTok. I don't go to Taco Bell, so it doesn't work fully yet on me, but maybe eventually it will.
It's definitely a good deal to do though. Like being straightforward, like the Chalupa box, you will get
It's
literally.
not sponsored.
No, not sponsored. You will literally get the best deal you can get because everything has been like all the prices have been raised everywhere you go.
It's so expensive now.
Yeah,
I
but the
feel like.
box has like I think it's $7-8 wherever you go, and you get like 4 or 5 items.
I got a box in Atlanta at a Taco Bell, and it was like $11.
Okay, maybe the price depends on the region.
But someone told me that I was crazy, so I don't know. Maybe
yeah,
I just got like.
but it's
robbed.
definitely probably cheaper than buying 4 separate things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Boxes were my go-to. So, you've been on this journey. I feel like officially you took this step to be like, I'm gonna post more regularly. That was about 6 months ago.
6 months ago. What month are we in?
We are in February at
so
the time
January
of recording.
and then -4. Probably like yeah,
was
September.
like
yeah, actually
September
yeah.
is when
was-
you took that?
yeah.
Okay, what prompted that change? Because I think everybody was always like, no one was surprised by that
Uh-huh.
move. I think what surprises me is that it took you so
So
long to
long.
do this. So what prompted this step? Like, why didn't this happen 5 years ago?
That's a good question. I really feel like if TikTok was around when we were in college, like more common,
Mhm.
like this era of TikTok, not like dance TikTok that was in
I
COVID.
guess dance TikTok was big in COVID.
Yeah, but like
was that
this
your
era,
first time like really putting stuff out there into the world, or
Yeah.
had you always been doing that?
No, yeah. TikTok was the first time I've been like putting myself out there.
Okay, so it started like through COVID.
Through COVID, yeah. I definitely want to do stuff during the Vine era because a lot of my friends, even like my good friends right now, they're like, Kushal, you need to get in front of the camera and start talking, right? I'm like, I don't know if I can do that because I'm a very different person because I've never talked in front of a camera.
Yeah.
But like the conversations that me and my friends have, like our thought processes, and like I'm really funny. I feel like I'm really funny, right? So like they're like, you are a very comedic person in general, so you
Yeah.
you'd pop off obviously. So I'm like, okay, I'll think about it.
But you didn't. So this is back in the Vine era.
This is back in like
People were
10
telling
years
you.
ago, yeah.
ages ago.
And then when I want to say when COVID hit, that's like when I started to do little TikToky stuff just for fun, like a bunch
Yeah.
of memes. No brand image at all. Just like posting for fun because I
Yeah.
didn't think you could get money off of doing that.
Even at that point,
No.
you weren't really.
I was like,
okay.
what am I going to do making money off of this? Like, I cannot make money off of
Was
this.
it that you couldn't make money off of it, or it's like this isn't a viable career option for me?
Both.
So, okay.
I was like, this is going to take forever for me to get all these people. Like, I just didn't, that was a very unfamiliar industry to go into.
Okay.
Content
Very
creation.
foreign.
Yeah, very foreign. I was like, what is this? Like, this is just for fun.
Okay.
But I think when I got laid off, that's really when it sparked for me. Because, like, when I was working and going into the office and coming back home, all of my content was primarily either memes in my room with, like, an audio
Yeah.
over or, like, me talking in my car. And by the time I got home, it was dark time.
Do you think you were still kind of making
similar content at that point to
No.
what you're making now? Okay.
Absolutely
This
not.
is just like
I
memes
mean,
for your friends type of thing?
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, there's a big overlap, but I think I always got fed up because I'm like, sometimes I wasn't doing that much work, but I
Yeah.
was in the office, and I was like, I could be, creating a script for another video, or I could be
Yeah.
recording a video.
Yeah.
But now when I get
I feel
home, I'm
that.
like tired from work and I don't want to do anything.
Oh my god, yeah.
So
That's like
then, like,
that's me all the time. I have all these things I want to do, and then it's like I get home and I'm like 3
yeah,
a.m. time to go to bed.
exactly. But I think when I got laid off, that was like, it was a wake up call for me because I'm like, okay, I can finally do all the content I want to.
Yeah.
Zero ideas. There was nothing going in my brain about like what to do. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I have literally no 9 to 5. This is like the perfect
I
time.
could spend all day on this
You
thing.
could spend all day on this thing, but I didn't because I was so burnt out from work. I literally took like 3 months doing nothing.
When did you get laid off? In the
It's gonna be a year next week.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it took you some time.
It took me some time, yeah. Because I think I knew when I got laid off, I wanted to pursue some sort of aspect in content creation
Okay.
because it was a sign. I had to take it as a sign for something.
Yeah. Take
And
the positive out.
Literally, yeah. And
Why was it a sign for content creation in particular, not like going into meteorology or something like that? Was it just like this is something I want to do? I want to do a creative outlet.
yeah,
Okay.
I think definitely I was already doing it and I was already thinking about it in the back of my head. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay, the opportunities have been laid out in front of me. Let's pick one and let's go with it. And immediately, I think when I got laid off, I thought of content and it was like, I want to do a day in the life as an unemployed
Yeah.
person,
You
right?
did do that.
I did do
see
that for 7 days. It was very fun to do, but it was very, very time consuming because at the end of the day, at like 10 p.m., I'd have to put everything together,
Yeah.
voice over it, and then upload it the next day and do the same thing over and over again, and then delete the footage because my storage was running out. So it was a bunch of processes.
It's a constant. I always see those like daily vlogs.
I don't know how they
and
do it.
It's like, or people who post every single day. It's like how do you live a life, but then also plan,
Yeah.
record, do the setup, and then also do all the post production, and then match it all in your brand. Like how do you do all that in one day? So you found that like, was it taking more time than a 9 to 5 for you, or
Not really. It just
Okay.
I've never done like a day in the life type of video, so recording
just
those
something
was very new. I was like, I have to do everything. And then once I started looking online at other people's TikTok pages, it's like you don't record everything. You only record what you want other people to see. So if I was
Yeah.
a DJ, no one's gonna care what I eat for breakfast. They're gonna be like, oh, he woke up, he saw all these songs, he has his inspiration from the birds singing their tunes in the forest, and things like that. Like
Yeah.
they don't care that you put your left shoe on first and then your right shoe on. At
So
least
this
not
is
yet.
something that you became conscious of after
After I
or once
finished the
you
7
started
days.
this journey. Oh, after you
Yeah.
finished the 7 days.
I was like, oh, that makes more sense why people are not burnt out doing these day in the lives.
Okay.
Because they don't record every single moment of
Because
their
you have a
life.
vision
Yeah.
of what you want it to be.
Yeah.
I'm very much the opposite of that, and I'm like still in the process of learning. Of like, all right, let's just be around the target.
Mhm.
I'm always like, let's just get everything, and
Yeah.
then we'll make something out of it, surely. But if you go in with a target in mind, then you can plan around that, and then you have way less work after the fact. Your setup is way more specialized. All you have to do is spend a little bit of time ahead of time
Yeah.
to plan what you want to show. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And I think when I was planning it out, it was definitely a lot easier. But I think when I was doing those day in the lives, and like the week after, I had a trip already planned to Honduras. So that was like, okay, I have to finish all of this laid off paperwork within 5 days, 5 business days, because
Yeah.
I was literally going to Honduras next week, and the end of the month was coming. So like anything that I had with my previous company was going to end.
Mm.
So I had to figure all that out. But when I went to Honduras, I did a lot of footage, day in the life and like as an unemployed person in Honduras, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. So that was very good.
Remember that series?
And then reposted it again in like August. And people were like,
Maybe
you got laid
that's
off
when I saw
again?
it.
I'm like, no, I'm just reposting it to get monetized now.
Okay.
So
So this was when in the timeline? By March?
I post
or-
these in March, yeah.
Okay.
Early March, late February.
Gotcha.
And then I took a couple months to learn about UGC videos. So user generated content videos. So that's similar to like the Taco Bell ad I had,
Okay.
where the company reaches out or has certain creators like you or me
Mhm.
to basically authentically review the brand or review a product.
Yeah.
Because when you're
Using your
scrolling,
brand
using my
appeal.
image, yeah. Because like if people are scrolling through YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and they see someone like a someone using a product versus like a very like scripted and like high production value ad of like
Yeah.
Pepsi versus me just like opening the bottle of Pepsi and be like, guys, have you tried this new Pepsi flavor?
It totally works because it's so this was like you talking about the product or just brand placement in general at this point.
Talking about the product, like it's
Okay.
authentically using the product in a way where it doesn't seem like an ad.
Okay.
And obviously, like I can also do like a day in the life drinking Pepsi, and that's UGC because it's an actual person generating a content.
At this point in the stage, did you have brands reaching out, or were you reaching out to brands, or were you just researching that this was a route that you would have to go to if you were going to make money off of this?
It was definitely a route I wanted to take because I'm like, um, the more I was scrolling on TikTok, the more that I was researching. That's what my feed became was
Mm,
how to become a UGC creator or 10 steps to become the best UGC
it's
creator.
like
So I'm
they
like, it's a
knew.
sign, yeah. I have to be a UGC creator. So I have a portfolio of like
Okay.
20 different videos of me using products. And they usually say when you want to create a portfolio, you grab anything in your house and you make a video about that. So I made a video about a tea tree serum or a
Okay.
video about my headphones, and they just put it on your portfolio for brands to see. I didn't do any outreach at all, which was I was like, what is the point of making a portfolio?
But you just did this for practice then? Or
Yes.
when you made the portfolio, was it this is just for practice, or did you want to send it down
I
the road
wanted
and
to
then you
send it
just
because
didn't?
I'm like, how do I find these people, right?
Okay.
And there's definitely a lot of people. Twitter is a very good place for UGC people to find brands. So there's definitely a bunch of email lists. But then I'm like, do I want to become a creator where I just make videos about brands, one, I don't even know about,
Yeah.
or two, just making, like, having my face everywhere?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these brands are big name brands. They're like really, really random brands that want you to make a video for them. I'm like, how
They
do
just
I
gotta
know?
get out.
Just
So
like get
they're
out. I'm like, how
gonna.
do I know, like, your company is like not racist, or the founder is like weird, you know?
Yeah.
So that's I'm like maybe I don't want to do that. So I spent like 3 months making a portfolio, doing all that stuff, and I was like, pass.
Who was it? There was a. Oh God, this is gonna hit me after recording this. But there was a YouTuber who once said the only thing that you have once as a creator is your authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And so the second that you give that up and choose to monetize it, you can never get that back.
Yeah,
Ever. So
because
it
people
doesn't
won't
matter
even
when you
like
do it.
trust you at that point.
Exactly. Once you ruin it once, or I think maybe it was trust. It's the same thing like journalism, but it's like trust is your only resource that you have as a creator. So the second that you are no longer authentic or you break that trust by promoting a brand that isn't actually what you say it is,
Yeah,
you will never ever be able to be clean of that again, like no matter how many years it happens later, because you'll always have that on
Yeah.
your resume.
and that's what people say about like the clothes I'm wearing, like loose clothing. Is like, is it really good, or are you just like getting paid to do this?
Literally asked you that.
Everyone
hotel.
says that. I'm like, guys, like I know like a lot of influencers or content creators have like brands that are sponsoring them. Yes, this brand like I'm an ambassador for, but I'm like, guys, like this is actually like a clothing I would buy. So
Right.
it's very hard to convince people because they always think that like these content creators are just like fishing for money.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this one time, guys, just listen to me. Like, just feel the shirt. Like, it's really good. But
Have
yeah.
you taken any steps to try and get that across or combat that idea that you're just doing like partnerships like that for the money, or that you actually believe in what the product is?
It depends. I don't think I've ever done like a very authentic video for Loosh specifically. I've always created like ad-like videos. So I just created a video for them to use as a paid ad on Instagram because it matched their brand's thing. Otherwise, I don't think I've ever gotten on a camera and be like, this is from Loosh, wear it. This is what the product's about. Like,
Okay.
it's 100% cotton.
Gotcha.
I've only done it with one, and that was the recent video I posted a couple days ago about Starbucks in Palestine, where I recorded like my shirt of like the Palestine flag, and that's when like authentically was like, guys, like this shirt supports these efforts X, Y, and Z. I didn't know what fabric it was from, but I'm like, this is what I authentically think about this shirt.
Okay. That was like an Etsy creator, right? That you
That was an Etsy creator, yeah.
partnered with
Yeah.
for that. Let's keep going back on that timeline. So we'll get to a couple days ago in a little bit. But um, you started researching UGC. When was it that you then had your first brand partnership or like some sort of deal? When did you make money for the first time? That's what I'm getting at.
First time. It was I think June or July. I was still trying to do UGC in a way where like I don't have to reach out to brands because I'm not trying to research 500 brands to email,
Yeah.
right? So I downloaded a couple of apps that have brands in thumbnail form where you can look at these brands, what they want. If they have a script that they just need a person to record. So I did that for a couple of people, got like $180 for like 3 different brands, and I was like, this is
Each or total?
total.
Okay.
And I was like, this is a lot of work for a very minimal amount of money,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, okay, after these 3 brands, I'm uninstalling this app. I'll get my money, but I'm not doing this again.
Was that videos you posted on your social media, or you just made it for that brand to then use?
For them to use, yeah.
Okay.
So UGC is just videos that they use. It never goes on your platform.
Gotcha.
Unless they want to, then that's a different rate that you charge. But
Right.
otherwise, UGC, the good thing about it is like anyone can do it because you don't have to have a following at all. It just goes
You just
on
have to
the
be a real
brand.
person.
Yeah, you're a real person. But I think in July or August, that's when I did video content creation for a local bubble tea shop in my hometown, and that like location was notorious for having their tenants leave. Like
Okay.
every 2-3 years, it's either a coffee shop that's new or like another coffee shop that's there, another cafe. Like it's always turning around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, guys, this is a bubble tea place.
This needs
Literally,
to
like this
stay.
needs to stay. It's like 5 minutes away from my house. This needs to stay. And so during I think their soft opening, I was just recording video for my own page, like, you know.
Did you talk to them that you were?
They came
gonna
up
do
to me
this?
and they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, like, are you like an influencer?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I am an influencer, yeah." So she's like, "What are your rates? Like, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I've never been asked these questions." So I was just like, "Yeah, I'm a local influencer content creator, wanting to support local brands, hoping you guys stay around because I know this location is very notorious for like it has a high turnover place."
Right.
And then so I showed him a couple of my videos on my portfolio, my UGC portfolio. I was like,
Okay.
this is what I do.
So
If
your
you-
portfolio did come
it
in
come to
handy.
use,
so you
yeah.
made it, and you finally got to use it.
yeah, and so they wanted me to do a couple of videos leading up to their grand opening. So the soft opening, I think, was just a time period for them to figure out what sort of market they have, what their busiest times are, and then the grand opening is when they're like
Hey,
set in stone.
We're
Yeah.
100%.
So they wanted like 8 to 10 videos, and it was like 4 weeks away. I was like, okay, 8 videos, then that means we need to record like 2 a week. And so I just gave them the same rate as I had before, and it was like 200 videos or $200 per
There you
video.
go. 200 videos per dollar.
Yeah.
What a turnaround.
But I
Okay.
felt bad because I'm like, this is a local brand. This is a local business. This is a minority-owned business. This place
Mm.
is known to like leave. So I'm like, should I even charge them that much? Let me like give them a little discount for buying like 8 videos. And I think I ended up doing like $150 for 8 videos. I'm like, this
Okay.
is a little discount I can give you guys.
Okay.
So somewhere $1,100, and then they're like, oh, we love your videos. Can you come on grand opening day and record 2 more videos for us?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, here are my rates, same rates as I did before, because like, I don't want to be like, oh, I've raised my price in the past like 4 days. So I think it was around like $1,500 I made just from making videos for that page, and that was on their Instagram page. So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, there's definitely money in this business, you know. I'm sure if it was a bigger name brand, I could have offered so much more. But that's when I realized that they didn't even try to negotiate down. I negotiated
Yeah.
myself down. I was like, oh, but, you know, let me just take it down just because I know, like, you know.
I found myself doing that a lot when I
Yeah.
would like reach out to comps or reach out to other orgs to do shows for them. Is like I'm like, oh, but I want to get my foot in the door. I want to get hired.
Yeah.
So then I'd like end up lowballing myself. That's interesting. So you were like aware of. Did you know ballpark rates of what other creators would charge for something similar at this point, and you had researched that ahead of time when you were making your UGC portfolio, I assume?
For UGC, yes, I knew,
Okay.
but I didn't know what it was to be like. I guess at that point, I was their social media content creator
Yeah.
because I was making pages for their like organic page.
It's
So I'm
like you
like,
were making a commercial for them.
yeah, I was
right?
like, I don't know how much to charge. I'd looked up so much on TikTok and Instagram. I'm like, what are the rates for these? So I
Yeah.
just ended up charging like my UGC rates of 200 per video.
Okay.
Um,
And
and
then
then I
you
negotiated.
negotiated
I
down.
talked myself down a bit. They didn't even try to negotiate. They were like, okay. I was like, oh, it was that easy. It was like a big silence, and then I obviously like opened my mouth and was like, let me take it down a notch for you guys. But that was that, and then afterwards,
This was when? September, August.
August, backwards into June.
Okay.
That's when TikTok released their TikTok creativity beta program. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's the new version of their creator fund.
Okay.
And so you you need 10,000 followers, you need 100,000 views in the past 30 days, and you need to be 18 years older. I qualified for that. I'm like, okay, let me just see what my videos are gonna do with this fund, and it pays a lot better than the creator fund. I've heard. I was never on it because I never had, I think, 10,000 or 100,000 followers back
Yeah,
then.
back when the Creator Fund was active.
Yeah, but I posted my video about what you eat or what you drink when you eat rotli and shak, and I posted on TikTok, and I ended up making like $80 off of TikTok
Off of one video.
off of one video.
Okay.
I was like, there's potential, guys.
Do you know what the breakdown is? Like how many views you got on that video
Oh God.
and how that translated?
So I want to say they secretly changed the criteria over
Okay.
time, because I swear it was you had to have at least 1,000 organic views
Okay.
to be so like a video to be qualified on the TikTok creativity beta program. There's, I think, 3 requirements. You have to have at least 1,000 authentic views. So
That's
I
assume
can't
views from your followers.
my followers,
on
yeah.
their page, right? Before the
So-
algorithm puts them on random people's page, I assume.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So like I can't be on the toilet and constantly play this video
Oh,
on
I
YouTube,
see.
like repeat. It's
I see
one
what that
view.
is. Gotcha.
That's like one authentic view. The view itself has to be viewed for 5 seconds at least. So they want
Okay.
that retention in there.
Yeah.
And
Better than Twitter.
it has
Twitter's
to be
just
more
on
than 60
impressions.
seconds.
It has to be more than 60 seconds.
So they're promoting their like longer form
Yeah.
content. And they hit the criteria. I was like, wow, this is pretty easy. But then it got harder because like a lot of my content was 15-second long stuff, like brain farts. So I was like, okay, I got to sit back down and I got to somehow script this out to stretch it out to be a minute for all of my videos, just for it to be qualified.
Yeah.
And so I ended up pinning that video on my TikTok page because like whoever looks at it, boom, that's 5 seconds
That'll
they're
be the
gonna
first thing they
see.
see.
And then I want to say really want to say they switched the criteria where they just count videos on the For You page now. So whatever's pinned on my page, that doesn't count because that's not an authentic view, basically. Like if you're stalking me, that doesn't count as a view. So I was like, great, guys, you just
That'd be curious. So by even as early as June, you were starting to shift the way that you made content to match the criteria of getting paid.
Yes, because I wanted to be like, okay, this might be a sign where all of my videos need to be at least 60 seconds long for the potential of it going viral, right?
Okay.
Just in case it goes viral, I'm already hitting all the criteria notes. But I've learned over time that yes, that helps, but you also might want to make a little bit of short form content to sort of reel people in
Yeah.
to liking your page, to following you, and then they see more of you on their page.
It's using like different types of
Different types of
videos,
things,
different
yeah.
types of retention.
Short
And even
form
though you're
content.
only making money on one, they all still
Yeah, because as soon as
build your page.
like if someone saw me doing my car rant for like 5 seconds, right? 7 like my 7-second videos,
yeah.
they'd be like, dang, that guy's really funny. Let me follow him. And then I'm on their For You page the next day. And that video might be the minute-long video that TikTok pushes out.
Okay.
So from then on, there were slow months. There were very high months where I made around like maybe $50, $100. But I think when I fast forwarded to like the September, October time, that's when I followed a creator called Justine's Camera Roll. She's been popping off a lot on TikTok and Instagram recently because she's known to, her feed has been like she wants to become an influencer. So she takes you
Okay.
behind the scenes of how to become an influencer, even though she has 0 followers And she started. I remember I followed her when she had 3,000 followers
Wow.
back in September, I want to say. And the minute I saw her videos, I'm like, she's going somewhere. Because the way she was putting herself out there, the way that she was constantly going viral, it was like she's offering a pain point that people have, and it's how to become an influencer. I'm already reeled into her videos because I want to see more of that.
Yeah. You want to
So
go on that journey with her.
with her, yeah. And then eventually she exponentially went on that journey where um I could not keep up with her. I was like, dang girl, like you are gaining tens of thousands of followers every day.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, and it was definitely out of jealousy. I was like, I'm doing this for a couple years and you had this for like 2 months
And you're doing it.
and you're doing it. Yeah, she's doing it.
Do you think the advice that she gave, the way that she made? All right, let's do it. Do you think that she followed her own advice in a way, or was she also doing something different that she wasn't aware that she was doing?
I
Like, if you
definitely
watch
think
her videos, does it line up with what she's telling you to do?
Oh yeah, cuz she doesn't always talk about becoming an influencer. She also talks about random topics like how to have better hair or her favorite nail products. Those are some of the beginning videos I saw of her. And I remember I was like, okay, you know what? She's popping off. She's definitely someone I could have been. So let me stalk her and figure out a content plan, right? And that's when I
Okay.
first created a content calendar for the month of October.
Mm,
I was like, okay, let me look back at Justine's camera roll for the last 30 days. And I literally went on Notion and I wrote down every single video she did and what was it about.
I like that.
And I was like, okay, so she made like 45 videos in the past 30 days. These were her topics. What can I do, right? And so I sort of like grouped hers in, if it was like about content creation or if it was about products or if it was about her personality. I did the same thing. I wanted to talk about my content creation journey. I wanted to talk about brands or products that I use to be more appealing for other brands to use, right? 'Cause that's one thing I learned is like anyone can go viral.
Yeah.
Anyone can have 1 million followers, 2 million followers, and they can probably have 0 brand deals because no brand sees potential in working with them. So I'm like, okay, I need to make myself look like a brand would want to reach out to me or a brand would want to work with me.
To be brand friendly.
Yeah. So I
And
definitely have a couple of those videos, which are those like Taco Bell videos or those Hinge videos that I'm like, look at me. I love Hinge. Here are my 3 favorite prompts. Boom.
those Hinge videos, you just made those. They're not partnered or anything.
One of them was a paid ad.
How did that come about? So this was all mostly in the fall, right?
This was in the fall. This was when I was like in my era. Cause October did really, really well for me.
You made your calendar.
I made my
You were
calendar.
sticking
I
to your
stuck.
schedule. Okay.
I had a calendar.
Okay.
And so that's when I made my viral TikTok dance of Kanuno Jilva Handiode.
Which is your most viewed?
Not my most viewed, but it was a trend I
It's
made.
up there.
So
Okay.
like anyone who heard the song or looked at that dance wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it aligned perfectly with Navratri season, like
Yes.
Garba season. So everyone's already in their outfits.
Garba season was a big spike for you.
It was a big spike for me.
viewership-wise.
Viewership wise. And in my content calendar, I obviously knew all of my brown TikTok related stuff does really well, but I did not want to lean towards that.
Mm.
I didn't want to be known as like another brown influencer just catered towards brown people. But then I'm like, okay, this video is doing very well. Let me use that to my advantage. And I think on my content calendar, I had maybe 3 videos related to being brown on there. I think I ended up posting 15 videos about brown people in general.
Yeah, it was like a good chunk in there.
A good chunk. And I was like, definitely doing my dance a couple of times with different people.
Yeah.
Doing a bunch of montages. Doing like a Navratri season recap using that same every single brown TikTok I did in the month of October used that same viral sound. So whenever someone looks at that,
Then they see
me.
your
I took over that sound, I feel like, for the first couple of weeks. I was like, yes, brown related, this song. So I think I ended up making like 250 off of TikTok that month.
Okay.
And I was like, this is definitely possible.
You can see
I can see like if
trajectory.
I put an effort into something and I revolve around the audience, right? Not just about like what I like, but what my audience likes, then there's exponential improvement.
So there's, I think, two different mindsets when it comes to creating content in that you kind of alluded to. So one is whatever your current audience is, just gearing content towards them.
Hmm.
But then there's another one of just making the content that you want to make, and then ha- just attracting that audience to
Yeah,
come in, which I think might be a little harder.
it is
So
harder.
it seems like you have this brown audience, so
Yeah.
you are making a lot of content for this brown audience, but long term, that's not exclusively where you want to go.
That might have shifted for me
Okay.
because I love making videos, for example, about Nicki Minaj, right? I'm a very
You do.
big Barb fan. So
She's got a lot going on.
she's got a lot going on right now. We're not going to talk about that. But I'm a very big Barb, right?
Right.
So I feel like almost all of the Nicki Minaj related content I've produced is very good. If a random Barb were to look at that video, they'd be like, yes, good, 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 right?
Right. But most of your audience
But most of my
isn't
audience
Barbs.
are not Barbs, are not Nicki Minaj fans. So I'm like,
Yeah.
great. Like the content that I like doing, my audience, it's a very, very, very hard way to get that audience.
Yeah.
But not that I'm saying I'm going to give up on it. It's just that maybe I need to tweak my format, maybe, right? Maybe I need to do a green screen video, or maybe I need to do a voiceover or something. Um, but definitely when you're creating content, and even a lot of creators who are on podcasts or who do their little get readies with me and talk about their personal lives, they always say that, like, especially Justine's camera roll.
Yeah.
She was like, when I was going viral for a certain period, I took advantage of that and I created videos based off of the videos that were going viral. So that's what I was doing. I was like, my Gujarati Garba dance is going viral. Let me revolve every video around that, whether it be creating different or creating dances with different people, or whether it be doing like a behind the scenes of how I created it. And so many, like translating the garbo, like there were so many things that I have never done on my page where I started doing because of that video. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of people were like, we want to see more of this. I'm like, but I don't. I don't want to be translating garbos. I don't want to be dancing on TikTok like that all the time. But I'm like, I can see myself doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it'll
But it's not
only,
who you want to be.
yeah, I think it'll only work out during that Navratri season every year. Like maybe like during October, during Navratri, that's what I'll be doing.
It's just that.
It's just that. And see what I can do. Because I gained over like 500 followers, I think. Not too many over that 1 month. So
But you got a lot of views
yeah.
during
I've
that
got a
hit.
lot of connections too. I've
Yeah.
met with a lot of people like virtually about that dance. I've gotten a couple of partnerships with other people. Like it's insane how well knit our community is. Ours meaning like brown people, and within brown people like Gujarati people.
Yeah.
I used to hate seeing other Gujarati creators on social media, whether it be actually Gujarati, any brown person. I would just swipe. I was like, no, I am not seeing
Because
that.
it's immediately about what it's like to be brown, you think?
Yeah, it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, here are my struggles as a brown person. Um, because I'm so dark skinned, I get treated differently like this, or because I don't know enough Gujarati living in America. I'm like, okay, guys, do you see any other like race talking about their struggles all the time? Like, why can't we just be like a group of people
We
who
can have
happen to
this
be
identity, but we can also be more
Yeah.
than just
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
We can be a beauty model who also happens to be brown.
yeah.
Or we can be a comedian that also happens to be brown. So I think now it's still hard for me to see other brown creators because I'm like, I think I hold ourselves. Yeah.
I hold as
I
a
hold
community-
us.
I hold us.
I hold us to a higher standard. I'm like, guys, we can do better than that. Swipe.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see other people like me, other brown people. Like, oh wait, like maybe I should look at your page. So I think with a couple of brown videos that go viral, I definitely get introduced to other brown creators I never
Yeah.
knew about. Because my feed is not brown. Like I think you were talking about
We
how
were
your
talking
feed
about this
is just
before.
brown people. I'm like, that
Well,
is
it's not
my
just,
feed.
but there are a lot of brown creators
Yeah.
on there.
Mine is nothing like that. Absolutely nothing like that. So I don't see any brown creators.
Mm.
And then when I do see them, I'm like, oh my god, like guys, give me something actually funny or give me something actually useful that I can use, right? But some people I realize aren't like your friends online or your friends in person might not be your audience, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like I used to send in the very beginning. I used to always send my TikToks in like our friend group chats to be like, guys, like this, comment, and share it, okay? And they would do that. And then I realized like that's not the audience that I want. Even though I do want my friends to see it, but like that's not what they want either. They don't want to see me like this
Yeah.
all the time. So I stopped doing that. But I realized like not all of your friends are meant to see your videos, and that's totally fine.
I am going to come back to that point there because I relate to that in my life as well. But to circle back to brown content,
Yeah.
that's kind of the goal with this podcast is it's not talking to brown creators about being a brown creator.
Yeah.
It's talking to brown creatives about being creatives.
Yeah.
And
A
just
creative who
like-
happens to be brown.
Yeah, who happens to be brown.
Yeah.
So, I didn't come to you and say, Kushal, I want to talk about your struggles of being, which, I'm sure they existed, but, ideally, it's all of these amazing people who are doing work, and I want to know their thought process
Yeah.
and how they got into it and why they're doing it and those things. And some of that might overlap with being brown,
Yeah.
but also some of it might not because we're individuals outside of that.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you brought that up organically. I didn't even have to go there.
Didn't have to segue into that.
Wow, look at that. A true captain. So you also mentioned like sending videos to your friends not necessarily being your target audience. Also,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some overlap. Also with my content, especially when I used to stream and make more gaming content, but also when I ventured into sports content, when I did like live streams and stuff, I would send all of this stuff to my friends. But this is none of the I've done a ton of different types of content over the years. None of it is ever like the same stuff that they're
Used to.
looking at
Okay,
either.
okay.
So it's like they're doing it, but they're watching it, but they're just watching it because they're
You told them to watch it.
yeah, because I told them to watch it. It's not
Exactly.
something they would normally watch. So then at some point I kind of felt like I was using them
Mhm.
almost, and it's the same reason that I quit streaming as well. Is
Uh-huh.
whenever I would play games with my friends, I felt like deep down, whenever we're playing games, I'm streaming it. So I felt like I was using them
As content.
for content that they wouldn't watch, and therefore they wouldn't really
Okay,
want to
okay.
be a part of. But they would do it because they wanted to support me. You have, friends who have been in your content, like your Honduras vlogs and things like that. Has it like changed any relationships in that sense, or is that how is your relationship changed, or how is your content changed to accommodate that, if it
Uh,
has at all?
It definitely has, I think, because I realize that when I'm around certain groups of people,
Yeah,
I get no content filmed. Whereas other people,
in a good way because it's just
in a
too
bad
much-
way.
Okay,
because I'm like, I want you guys to be on my page, right? But some of my friends aren't really like too interested. Not like saying
In-
I don't want to be on your page,
yeah,
but it's
in
like,
the sense that you want to share the experiences that you have
Yeah.
with your followers. Okay,
but sometimes I think we just have like too much fun sometimes that we just forget to record content.
that's a good problem to have.
And it kind of overlaps with like we forget to even take pictures when we're
That
together.
happens to me all the time.
So I think it's a big overlap between certain friend groups where I'm able to record content and other ones I'm not able to. Like in Honduras, two of my friends that I went with, they love being on camera. They're like, whenever the camera's on them, they're just like, I was like, yeah, okay. They're very natural at it, whereas other people aren't really too interested in being on camera like that. And
Yeah.
I respect that because some of my friends are like, get the camera away from me, like in a fun way. But after a couple of times, like they say that, I'm like, okay, let me actually like not put them on the spot like that. Maybe I'll just
Yeah.
record on Snapchat for like my Snapchat memories instead
Yeah.
of like posting this somewhere that they don't want. Because some of my friends have professional backgrounds, right? They have like they want to get somewhere in life professionally, like
Right.
if they want to be like a lawyer or like a doctor, like that's something that their image stays on forever. So I definitely take into mind. Like if someone says no, they just won't be in that vlog. They won't be in my day in the life videos, or they won't be in my Honduras vlog. Like I just will act like they're not there, or like I'll show their like hands when I'm recording the food or something. Like
Do you feel like now recording content and trying to revolve your life around making content, has that affected your relationships, like the way you spend time with friends and things like that?
no, I definitely like if I'm going, for example, I'm here at Blacksburg. I have a couple of videos in mind I want to create, and I'm going to create them. Usually, I never create them because I get carried away.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to always recording stuff because I'm like, oh, the lighting's not good, or like We don't look good.
I got 2 lights for you right here, man.
I'll carry this everywhere.
Let me know.
So I definitely want to make sure that I record these 3 videos, and it doesn't affect my relationship with people. Usually people don't mind it.
Yeah. So it seems like kind of you're just aware of who's sensitive to it and who isn't, and
Yeah.
then you've worked your content around that.
Exactly.
The last thing that I want to bring up, because we spent a lot of time talking about money,
Hmm.
and I feel like money transparency is good because, yeah, there's a lot of people who want to do something like this and don't know how to make it relevant or if it's possible, things like that. Same struggles that you went through. Um, you've been really good about money transparency, I think. Like, I've really enjoyed watching all of those videos whenever you say, this is what I made this month, blah, blah, blah. Just as an overarching pie chart, can you give me like a rough estimate of where your money comes from? How much comes from a creator fund? How much comes from brand deals? How much comes from like the commercials that you did? Just as like in your creator journey, a rough percentage breakdown.
Okay, so on average, since I joined the TikTok creator beta program, I think that's what it's called. It's like program beta program. I don't know.
There you go. One of those.
One of those two. I've averaged at least, I want to say now, I just got my January figures back. I averaged probably 150 per month
Okay, in creator fund.
in the creator fund just
Okay.
itself,
And
and
you had
then
as high as like 250.
250 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this past month I did 180. I was like, what did I even make this past month? But okay.
But that's just your previous like your archived content is probably still making you money. I would think.
Potentially. They give you a breakdown of what videos in the past 30 days have performed well and what the
Gotcha.
percentages of that is. But that's about 150 each month. I try to aim for 150. Once I reached 250 in October, I'm like, okay, let me make 200 my new 100. And then it kind of got a little bit harder because I was kind of like, okay, I don't know what to make anymore. So 150, I've been making off a TikTok creator beta program average per month. And then I also have this other UGC. It's a more authentic app. It's called Kale. And it's founded by a Gujarati person. So I was like, wow,
There
this
you
is
go.
kind of full circle for me. So it's basically a list of brands that you can collaborate with or make videos about. And they basically, the whole point of that platform is for authentic users, any person on TikTok, any person on Instagram, YouTube, to make a video about their product regarding this challenge. And they pay you X amount of money based on your engagement.
Okay.
So
And that's them posting it on.
that's you
their-
posting on your own
But
feed.
you posting. Okay.
Yeah, and based
gotcha.
on your own engagement, you can get like $6, $10, $15.
Okay.
So that's why I had a couple of my collabs with Bubble, the skincare company, Bubble,
Yeah.
Magic Spoon, Taco Bell, and Hinge was through that.
Oh, they all came from there.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
for my authentic stuff, I've probably averaged around. Now I'm pretty good at it. I feel like, so I average around $50 per video that I post on that.
Okay.
And then if the brand itself sees your video, they get to pay you additionally for the ad. So I never knew that was a thing. I was like, oh,
Because they can bring you on.
because they
to
can
make
bring you
more.
on, yeah. So I think for my Taco Bell ad, I got paid $200 for it on top of that.
Because Taco Bell saw it.
Taco Bell
and
saw
they
it and they wanted to
you-
use it, yeah. And I was like, oh,
Gotcha.
wow.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. It was still a very, very low price because, like, I'm getting partnered with Taco Bell, guys.
So how did that price come about? Did they give you that figure? Or did you give them that number?
The brand, the Kale brand.
They said
they're like the
that's their
middle
deal.
ground,
Okay.
yeah. So Taco Bell gives Kale a budget to use for the videos that they're going to, that all these creators are going to
Okay.
post.
And they just said, "Hey, Taco Bell's gonna post this. We'll give you $200." Or was there
Yeah.
any negotiating there? Or no.
I think I tried to negotiate about usage rights, but they just said like that's included, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
It didn't make sense, but
Gotcha.
that was to that. They wanted to tweak some things about the video, so I was like, oh, let me tweak it and then send it. Hinge did the same thing. Hinge just paid me because they loved the ad itself. I was like, okay.
Cool.
Taco Bell wanted to use my recent one again, and I was like, how about this price? Never got back.
Mm.
And I was like, okay,
Gotcha.
guess I'm not gonna be partnering with them, but for that video, because I'm like, I know my worth a little bit, so I know like what I'm bringing, and it doesn't hurt to negotiate. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna, So I would say around
a
like
typical person would say they would they would just communicate back to you. And if they're not communicating back, then it's like maybe I don't want to establish a partnership with them anyway. Like
Yeah.
it hurts now to not get this extra money, but probably for the best.
Yeah. So I would say 50% of my income comes from TikTok. Maybe even 70%. 80% I'd say actually now. And then
Okay.
the
From
20
the creator fund.
from the creator fund, yeah.
Okay.
And then 20% comes from any sort of Kale partnerships I do.
Gotcha.
Um,
Long term, do you find that sustainable? Do you know kind of a direction that you'd like to head in long term? Or are you just thinking right now about let's just get more consistent, let's just keep going and go from there?
I definitely want to niche down in a way where I'm all over the place. I'm like a lifestyle creator, but I want to
A lifestyle creator who happens to be brown.
happens to be brown, happens to be brown, but I want to figure out like what sort of things to dive into. Not that I'm saying I just want to create videos about guys' makeup, right? No. I want to dip into everything, but I want to also narrow myself down in a way too.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to picture myself doing everything I'm doing right now over a long-term course of time. So I want to figure out like if I want to stick to like a series where like every week I smash or pass products, right? Like I smash or pass like the best Taco Bell items, like mild sauce pass, right? Whereas
Okay.
like that's like the most simplest idea that I can make right now.
Yeah.
But I do realize that series are a little bit better because it keeps yourself
It keeps
accountable
people coming
and
back
people coming
also.
back to it. Yeah, like I did a video about like redoing my closet, and it kept me accountable. I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun. Always creating content about like little steps I'm doing to change my closet journey. You know, some people were like, you never posted your final closet look. I was like, yeah, I really didn't, but enough time has passed where I'm not going to do that anymore.
You can do part 2 for real this time.
Part 2 for real, yeah.